Hello, fellow sports bettors. This is Statfox Jeff. I just wanted to talk to you today about an exciting new sports handicapping service offered at DRF. It's DRF Sports, and it's powered by Statfox. Basically, we will provide you with some of the best handicapping information out there, different angles from trends to stats to power ratings to simulations to schedules, you name it. Everything that a sports bettor will need to handicap the games themselves, we will offer it. And the great thing about the DRF Sports service is that you, in addition, will receive a tip sheet with your subscription. It's a DRF Sports form. Another great service that offers, in addition to quality statistics, it'll offer some top picks from our handicappers to help you out if you need that extra helping hand in your self-handicapping process. Just wanted to go over today, week one of the NFL, and specifically focus in on the Thursday night game between Chicago and Green Bay, which just so happens to be our free sample here at DRF Sports. So if I visit the sports.drf.com domain in my browser, you can find the Green Bay Chicago game is the free sample for this week. So I'll click on that. And one thing that stands out immediately here is Chicago is a 3-point favorite in this game, but they really should be more. Our power line has them favored by 13 points, so that is quite the value edge on Chicago in week one. Interesting thing to note that despite that, Green Bay is actually, the bookmakers are actually moving the line to Green Bay. They opened it at 3.5, and it's come down to 3. Going back to our 3 rating systems, as I mentioned, Chicago in the power line is a 13-point favorite. They're also a 8-point, 27-19 8-point favorite in our game simulator estimate number 1, and the other one points to a 23-20, a closer score in estimate number 2. So all 3 of these rating systems do favor Chicago to win the game, 2 of which point to them to cover the spread relatively easily. Going through the rest of this football matchup, you'll see some interesting information, including these betting angles. Betting angles basically are trends and betting systems. You know, the trends could be of quarterback trends, coach trends, team trends. In Major League Baseball, we offer starting pitcher trends. Basically, we're looking for historical conditions in which one team has had an edge against the spread versus their opposition. In this particular case, you see that we break it down. Different categories. We'll list some trends that are favoring Chicago, the under, the over, Green Bay. Basically, they're meant to give you a full picture of the game. You know, we want all the facts to be in front of you before you make your decision. A couple trends of note here as I look at Chicago. Focusing on one right here. Matt Nagy is actually 10-3 against the spread against the conference opponents. So against the NFC foes, he's 10-3 against the spread. Chicago averages a 24-16 win in those games. That's actually pretty good and would really also strengthen my opinion of Chicago. If I go over to line movements, this section offers a detailed breakdown of what the people are betting on, what the average public is betting on. So in this particular case, you can see that Chicago is attracting 54% of the wagers as opposed to Green Bay's 46. The over is getting 58% of the action, 42% is on the under, and that overs will tend to get most of the action in NFL football. It's just the way the public likes to bet. Most people don't want to sit in front of their TVs after they bet a game and just hope for a low-scoring game. That's kind of a tough way to watch one. So overs tend to draw more action than unders. Favorites tend to draw more action than dogs. So one thing to keep in mind as you review this section, as you go a little lower into the report, you'll see there's a complete line history, sorted basically from the oldest opening number to the most recent number. We also offer injuries. As I look at this, there's really no injuries of significance. There are some players who are either out or questionable. A couple that stand out would be the 2 tight ends. You have Chicago's Trey Burton, Green Bay's Jimmy Graham. Graham may be slightly more likely to play than Burton. Neither of these absences or potential absences would affect the line much, however. Under results, this is a detailed breakdown of all the recent results and upcoming schedule for both teams, including with team statistics and their opposition statistics in those games. One thing to note here is when I look at Green Bay, they actually fell off quite a bit towards the end of the season. You see they have 7 out of 10. They actually lost 7 of the last 10 games, and they have a tough opening couple weeks as they visit Chicago, then they host their other division rival, Minnesota. So it's going to be make or break time for the Packers in the first couple weeks. Head to head, this is one area where I would really look at as the only real huge advantage for Green Bay. A couple things to note. Dating back to 1992, and this goes all the way back to the start of the Brett Favre era, Green Bay has 40-15 straight up against Chicago, including 34-20 against the spread. Now that's a long-standing dominance, and it's quite unusual in the NFL to have that kind of dominance, especially in a rivalry situation. So that's pretty big. In fact, if you look even closer, the record at Chicago is even better. So 22-6, Green Bay is at Chicago, 20-8 against the spread. So that right there might be a red flag of caution for Bears bettors, but I wouldn't bet the game on Green Bay just on head-to-head alone, because your primary factor when betting is still how good is the team currently. And Chicago appears to be the better team going into this season. But one thing, just keep in the back of your mind that Green Bay has had a lot of success playing Chicago. Team statistics, another key area. Everything we offer in here is applicable to the current game, meaning that we won't show you statistics for home games if a team is on the road. So you can see that everything in this table will apply to the current game. Some people will ask, what is opponents? Well, that's the average statistics of the opponents that team has played. So Green Bay's opponents last season averaged 22.4 points per game. Not the teams Green Bay played against, but all their opponents over the course of the season combined would average 22.4 points per game. And we'll certainly have more videos in the future to break this down a little even further and help everybody get an understanding of what this is all about. Lastly, we offer our partners at Stats AP offer some nice editorial previews for these games. So, you can get a good breakdown and to learn some of the things that maybe wouldn't be covered by statistics. If a coach has extra motivation against another coach, or you name it, there could be any number of different scenarios. AP Stats will have you covered with our game previews. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Hope this gets you off to a good start this NFL season. If you'd like to have more information on pro or college football, you can follow us on Twitter at Statfox Sports, or you can follow myself, Statfox Jeff, on Twitter at SportsDBExpert. That's at SportsDBExpert. Thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.